Okay. Well, good afternoon. As you know, I am the head of the department, Professor Grima, Simon Grima, and with me there's the other coordinator and also a member of of the Department of Insurance and Risk Management, because it is actually insurance and risk management, more risk management than insurance, is Dr. Jonathan Spiteri. You have met Dr. Jonathan Spiteri if you took his courses, which are optional in the past 2 years. Me, maybe a little bit less, because unfortunately, I'm not dedicating so much time to the first year, second year, and third year. Although I am I'm in most of the subjects. So, just to give you a brief outline of the two postgrad that we have, postgrad qualifications degrees that we have in the department. Okay, one of them has been running since I think 6 or 7 years and was successfully run, and the MSc has been running now for I think the third year. This is the third session. The good thing about our degrees is, first of all, you can enter with a category 2. So a category 2 would be at the level of 55 average. If you have less than that, it's not a problem. Then we'll look at the progression, you will have an interview, and we will decide based on the number of students that we have and whether we have seen that you have progressed well in the course. Okay. In the case of, let's say, jobs, before and even after, all the students have a job, and quite a good job in this area. And even there were students that have gone into one area and moved into another and then to another. And that is not restricted to insurance. Insurance is a tool. It doesn't mean you're going to have to work in motor insurance. As you know, even during the course, you've seen many different subjects. So, you can work in investments, in banking, in insurance, in health, in wherever, administration, in theology, if you're interested in theology, in lecturing. Anywhere there is the need for insurance and there's the need for risk management. And risk management became something really, really large. So it is practically in architecture, also in wherever. Okay, I teach in architecture, I teach in criminology, I lecture in health, clinical risk management. Dr. Spiteri does the same in many different areas. So he can tell you how important risk management is and how many jobs there are. On paper, I put them on LinkedIn and even on social network. There are various vacancies. We are looking for people, to join, and we cannot find enough. Now, let's start with the MSc. The MSc in Insurance and Risk Management can be split into 3 parts. Okay, it is over 3 semesters. Till today, it is full-time only. Maybe later on, as we have more, let's say, people, more lecturers, we might decide to do it even part-time. And it's imminent that we will do it part-time also. So part-time, giving you the chance also to get some experience while you're doing it. So this is over 3 semesters. The third semester is the summer session. Okay, the first and second are the normal that you're used to. So the first part is a certificate. Okay, so after 30 CTSs, you can stop there. If you decide to stop after 30 CTSs, you get a postgrad certificate. If you decide to stop after postgrad diploma, meaning another 30 CTSs, so 60 CTSs, you get a postgrad diploma. If you decide to do the dissertation, so in progression, you will, at the end, if you're successful, you will get an MSc in Insurance and Risk Management. Now, the level of our course is very high. In other words, it's comparable to other universities which have insurance and risk management. Okay, just to give you an idea, when we started off, we based our insurance and risk management on London CAS University. In fact, the same lecturers were lecturing there and here. Actually, they were lecturing here in our own honors program, not in our MSc program, but they were lecturing in London City, London CAS University, under the um, under the MSc, under their MSc. So our BCom honors was actually at a higher level, and at a higher level than we were placing it, because we were placing it as ICT as level 6 when it was level 7. Today, we are, as far as I know, we are the only university, okay, that our course has been chosen to be considered as equivalent, okay, is given an equivalence to what is needed to be a professional risk manager. Now, there are various institutes who have started um, following suit, and even universities. There's a Spanish university, there's a Polish university that are following what we are doing, and they are getting also equivalencies from FERMA. The only difference is that most of them are in their own language, so even if they get an equivalency, it wouldn't be international as much as ours, because ours is in English, while which is the main language. But some others who might get the equivalence, it might be just for France or for Italy or for Poland. Okay, so I mentioned just a few because FERMA, I mean, there are various countries involved in it. FERMA is the Federation of European Risk Management, by the way. Okay, so I will talk about that even further on. The course, so that you get an idea, has 3 semesters, as I told you. You've got compulsory subjects, okay? You've got, for example, advanced insurance practices, okay? This would be reinsurance. We're talking about reinsurance. It would be not the first time that you have touched upon it, but it is adding, okay, to what you know about reinsurance. And it is equivalent also to the ACII, to the Chartered Institute of Insurance subject, okay? It has in it broking and also claims and underwriting. Here we have 3 lecturers. They are all experienced. They've been lecturing with us for, 2 of them have been lecturing with us for, I think, over 7 years. They have over 30 years work experience, and they are all fellows or ACIIs and have a master's also. Advanced commercial lines is an increase on what you learned in general under the 3rd year of your course, your BCom course. It is not, it will have some repetitions, but it takes you to an advanced stage. Here again, you've got 3 lecturers. One is on marine, another one is on pecuniary insurance and business interruption, and the 3rd one I think is on marine and I think is on motor insurance. We go a little bit more into case studies of motor insurance, and then engineering insurance and engineering and architectural insurance. And also we go into a little bit of professional indemnity. We go into a lot of professional indemnity and directors and officers liability. All these subjects have become very, very, very important for all aspects of the industry, not the insurance industry, but the industry as a whole, even the government industry, public entities, sorry. Advanced personal lines is going more on the personal, like pet insurance, like life insurance, pension funds, and life insurance, pension, and health insurance. Okay, and anything related to these types of insurance. Okay. Then this would have covered the insurance part. So how do you manage risk? You can manage risk by transferring to insurances. That is one way, but it's not the only way. Then we look at geopolitical and environmental risk, which is done by, coordinated by Dr. Spiteri. Maybe Dr. Spiteri can give you some.
Yeah, so I would say that, I guess, well, they're interrelated, of course, geopolitical and environmental risk, but these are two of the biggest risks that companies face at the moment. Geopolitical risk is related to, well, as the name implies, so politics. So it could be anything from a change in government to a change in regulation. So it's quite varied, geopolitical risk. So we'll go into the different types of geopolitical risks. We will try to understand how we can manage them and try to also understand what has been done in terms of trying to assess them. Because when you're a multinational, you're trying to enter, for example, your business into a new country, for example, you need to actually do a geopolitical risk assessment before deciding to invest, for example, in a new country. So this is going to be very useful, even if you, as Professor Grima said, risk management is so vast. It doesn't have to be a job in a bank. It could be a job with a gaming company. It could be a job with a car manufacturer. Anything. So, I mean, I was doing geopolitical risk assessments for a fertilizer company in London. So anything, it literally could go anywhere. And then environmental risk, well, we all know about climate change. So climate change is one of the biggest risks that many companies are currently facing at this moment in time. Just to give you a really quick example, clothing companies, so clothing manufacturers. So think of Zara, think of H&M, all the big clothing manufacturers. One of the biggest risks they're facing at the moment is environmentalists, it's climate change, because what climate change will do over the next few years, and it's already doing it, is it's leading to more extreme weather, which is affecting cotton. Cotton, you grow cotton, and it's affecting the price of cotton. And obviously, if you're someone like Zara or H&M and you want to keep the price of your clothes down, you don't want the price of your main raw material to keep going up and down. It's madness. So you need to come up with ways to manage that risk. And obviously, apart from climate change, there are other environmental risks, water, waste management, a lot of different others. So we will also go into that, not from a sort of tree hugger perspective or sort of environmentalist. We're not trying to be green necessarily here. We're trying to see it from a very business perspective, but still obviously appreciating the impact of also business on the environment. So that's sort of geopolitical environmentalism. It's an interesting area. It's not necessarily a theoretical field. It's more about trying to understand real world issues.
In fact, risk management is all about proactivity. You have to see things maybe beyond, not being Nostradamus, but you have to practically see things before they happen and prepare for the things before they happen. So there are things that you will know about, there are things that you won't know about, or you will know about, but you won't know when they will happen, or the size of how they will affect. But you have to balance. Risk management is about balancing between environment, the economy, and the society, because there are social needs also. So what you are expecting to have as being the norm, okay, any variance from that would be a risk. And you have to prepare to understand if there can be a variance from what we consider as the norm, and that being the expected. It doesn't mean that, for example, with COVID, we have changed a lot of things from norm to a new norm. We call it a new norm. That is a variance. That is, we are in a risk period. We're not in the normal, what we consider as the norm. So we are aiming to go from that considered new norm, okay, and managing it back to what we want as the norm. Actually, what can happen is that the norm then takes another form, because then it becomes we expect something different. And that's why you need to know what is happening in the environment, in environment, internal, external, geopolitical, other countries, even when you're investing. You need to understand, the period when you invest. You're seeing, for example, I can give you a case in point. We're noting that there was a problem in China with COVID, but nobody at that point took action, you know, to close off China or else to restrict travel, although they knew that it could spread really quickly. At that time, many investors invested in new infrastructures, new technology, okay, communication technology. They invested at that time. And obviously, they went out when the demand grew really high, making a lot of money, making a big, cash intake, profit. So knowing or understanding when, to take a risk or when to go into something, okay, is actually arbitrage, because you're going to win all the time. So the thing is, anything that deals with a variance from the norm, which is risk, and you manage it, okay, proactively, can leave you with, actually, it will leave you with profit not only in terms of money, but even in terms of social benefits or all the other things. So this is why we need to go into many different areas when we're dealing with risk management. Okay, we show you the tools and we show you how to adapt them. Okay, now the next one is my territory. It's risk management theory and practice. As it says, it is theory. Okay, so we give you the theory, we tell you what, for example, why we use the Greek letters, but then we apply them. We apply them in real case scenarios, and we try to explain, define what beta is, what alpha is, what gamma is, what delta is. Why do we use those letters? We're not interested in, a lot of econometrics, but we show econometrics, how it can help you in practice. In other words, we put, for example, when we calculate the value at risk of something, we calculate it using real data and we put it into Excel. And I leave the cells open of Excel so that you see how we model value at risk. Okay, it is not that you're going to get mathematical formulas. We will show you the mathematical formulas, but that's not important. What is important is that you know how to use them, even using an application like Excel, okay, which is very, very simple. We make things very simple so that you will be able to replicate them. We even give you a case study, okay, to do as part of an assignment, which will help you understand the whole course, okay, the whole course on risk management theory and practice. And why practice? Because in practice, if you are a risk manager, you need to be able to calculate what your risk is. It's not only about, understanding what risks are. You need to even put them give a value to them. Because if you don't give a value, nobody will, nobody will understand specifically how much they are going to lose or how much they can win. Okay, because risk is not about losing, but it's about winning or taking opportunities also. In fact, in Maltese, we say, risk, good luck. Okay, God grants, in Arabic, it means God grants, Allah grants you luck. The third one is applied IRM techniques, which is a course preparing you for your dissertation. Okay, it prepares you to do your proposal, actually chapter 1 and chapter 2, and a little bit of chapter 3. Okay, so that when you come to the third semester, you will have basically the base complete, the base of your dissertation complete. Okay. Then there's governance, regulation, and compliance. Well, financial services is all about compliance, regulation, and governance. Today, if you don't know these areas, you cannot get anywhere in financial services because, or else you can get in trouble. So this is one of the most, it's a pillar in financial services. Any financial services, we don't just look at insurance, although we base it on insurance and risk management by looking at, for example, IDD instead of MiFID, okay? But we do tell you what MiFID is because IDD deals with bundled products, deals with investments, deals with banking, but MiFID just deals with investment and banking, okay? And to a limited extent, it deals basically with investments. But it does not deal with investments, for example, bundled with insurance or investment bundled with structured products, okay? It deals with specific alternative investment funds, which are basically also, and in their underlying assets, they would have, for example, assets which are securitizing climate change, for example, or loan funds, for example. Okay, and most of these funds are bought by pension funds, and the pension funds are again structured in products which we sell and reinsure using, you know, the regulations from IDD. So knowing IDD, you would already know what MiFID is. It's a little bit in more detail. Then you've got Solvency II, which is very similar to the Capital Requirement Directive. In banks and and investments, they call it Capital Requirement Directive. I was one of the first person to draft as a regulator. I drafted the first Capital Requirement Directive for investment firms. So I know what what I'm talking about when I'm talking about Solvency II and Capital Requirement Directive. Solvency II is the Capital Requirement Directive, but for insurance firms and in more detail, okay, and more objective rather than subjective issues. Then there is advanced enterprise risk management. Well, this is a course drawn up on 5 books, 4 books actually, but there's a fifth one by the Federation of European Risk Management and the Public Risk Management Organization. Anybody who passes this course, okay, will be given the equivalence of FERMA's certification, which is called REMAP. Okay, now if you get, once you finish these 2 semesters and you get the postgrad diploma, okay, you will renounce the postgrad diploma to get the MSc. But once you get that, you can go directly to MARM, Malta Association of Risk Management, okay, apply for membership. The membership is €50 per year, okay, and apply to start doing CPDs. Now the CPDs are short courses given by Malta Association of Risk Management. Some of them are against a small fee, some of them are free. And you have to pay for the first time €300 application. You will then get a certificate of a professional risk manager from FERMA International, okay? And you later on we will even have a certificate of professional public risk management, which comes from Primo organization. The aim with this is to a similar international warrant, something like that, to show that you have the competence of a professional risk manager. After 5 years experience, logged experience, then you will be considered as a international professional certified risk manager. Complete, you have the complete things. In the beginning, you will just be, you will have the graduate certificate, but you wouldn't be considered totally as an experience. You will be a junior risk manager. So This is norm with all other, qualifications and warrants. This is the start of a warrant for risk management, but international, not local only. Then there's psychology of risk. This is a course carried out by management, okay, the management department in conjunction with them. It is looking at, the person and the risks that we can have on the character, the personal characteristics. Then we've got electives. You've got quite a long choice here of electives, but you can only choose two. If you want to do more, it's up to you, but you can only choose two. I can tell you what they are. I mean, risk transfer accounting is for those accountants who want to go into the mathematics, okay, of IFRS 17. So if you are looking to work in, let's say, with IFRS 17, which is a new standard for insurance firms, you need to understand what IFRS 17 is all about. But this is for those people who are very statistical and analytical. Okay. Then there is risk management in emerging technologies. This deals with IT risk management, cybersecurity, and all the rest. It goes into a lot of detail on IT risk management. It is quite an interesting subject. It's not mathematical at all. So if you want to avoid mathematics, you can go into this. Then there is applied corporate finance. This is, in my opinion, is a very, very important subject, and should be, compulsory, but there is no space for compulsory. It can deal in minor, minimal calculations, but it's more like principles of finance or as financial risk, financial management. Okay. Then there is applied alternative risk transfer. That is the domain of Dr. Spiteri. If you want to give a brief
So
on it.
it's essentially different ways to transfer risk that are not the traditional insurance products.
Like captives, for example.
Yeah, like captives. So captives, for example, we do quite a bit on that. We do various other things related to captives, like cell companies, and we also look at emerging risks and things like, for example, securitization. So again, and it ties in nicely with things like, well, the previous things that obviously Professor Grima's modules, but also something like geopolitical and environmental risks, because these are pretty new risks that we're trying to deal with, and we don't really have the insurance products, the usual insurance products to manage these risks, to transfer these risks. So we come up with different types of securities that are based on the weather, for example.
This is an area which is in Malta. It's a growing area. It is one of the most growing areas,
yeah.
and the most exciting. It is like when saying you are joining an alternative investment fund management. I've got experience with that. I've got experience with cell companies. Sorry, I jumped in, Dr. Spiteri.
No, don't worry. Because it's true. This is where the growth is, really.
And this is where the excitement is, and the money is also.
Yeah, exactly. And not just in Malta, but abroad as well.
Exactly. And there are a lot of tax benefits. But Malta is one of the countries indicated, for having the best structure for one of the best structures for cell companies and for captives.
Yeah, exactly.
What I didn't say also in the beginning is that Malta has around, believe it or not, although we have four main, normal commercial insurers like Mafre, Medici, Kazan Mamo, Atlas, and Elmo, and Citadel. We have around 72 to 78 insurance firms, which is larger than any other country in Europe, except as a number, not as the value under management, except I think Germany. but obviously the assets under management are very large, you know. And whereas other areas like fund management and banking is lowering in size, okay, in Malta, because and for rightly so, because we don't have the big depositories. So if those are going down, these are going up, these are increasing, because they don't need the depository to be localized. And that is why when I say, look, when you say insurance or risk management, it's not only about, you can do portfolio management, you know, in insurance, because the thing is, in every company you have portfolios. In every company you have to have risk management. In every company you have to have internal audit. And all these things, they need to know if you are working in, I don't know, Farsons. I did, for example, give you an idea, I did the risk management, or part of the risk management of Farsons, of the new buildings. I mean, I'm a financial risk manager mainly, but I was recruited to do some work over there. I was recruited to do some work on Transport Malta, Arriva at the time. Um, okay, what does that have to do with financials? Yes, it has, because I can see, for example, the need for, let's say, for investments in their portfolio, where they are losing money, where they are losing opportunities. Okay, I can see the contracts, because I can see the insurances that you need when you've got a fleet. So you see how many things you can, when you are, for example, working for a company, you know, anywhere, I mean, that are listed, a listed company, okay, but they're not in insurance, but they are listed on the stock exchange. You can know, I mean, you can tell them what type of D&O they need to do, or what type of PI they need. In health, you can help them with the insurance part. You can help them with the risk management part, even when they do the contracts, because sometimes they do contracts, for example, large contracts when they buy, when they procure, for example, equipment. So all these things are part of, you know, risk management. Buildings, we had problems with buildings. Who is taking care of, you know, this construction? And that, you know, the risks are really being catered for. Communication, for example, okay, of risks. So these are all, you know, can be even applied in alternative risk transfer. For example, when you're building something, okay, let's say high-rise buildings, you have to be careful of earthquakes, movements in the rocks. You have to be careful of wind, sun. How can you have efficiency in sun? So you're looking at the environment also there. These are all part of risk management. And even, you know, in all the other subjects. So, Dr. Spiteri, would you like to say something else?
It's okay.
Okay. Because I keep on going. Managing risk in complex markets. This is, let's say, this is going into a lot into mathematics also here. It's going into a little bit of IFRS 17. So it will take a piece of IFRS 17. It will take a piece of my part also, theory and practice, and it will look at complex markets. Complex markets meaning that the investments or the portfolio is not just looking at ETFs, but it's looking at bonds, it's looking at property, it's looking at buildings, it's looking at construction, procurement, it's looking at weather, complex, you know, complex world. It's very interesting for those people who like, you know, to be more, they are not energetic, the word, I forgot the word. But they want to experience different things. I'm one of those types that like to experience a change, and I like change, and I like new things. So these excite me. These attract me to go there, you know. And that's one thing why I came to university, because it allows me to research in different areas. Management science and decision analysis. This is also another topic offered by the dean, actually, of the current dean of the faculty. It's closer to operations management, okay? It is quite an interesting subject. I used to love it when I did management. And it teaches you how to take decisions on, for example, queuing, okay, on the way we should look at things, how we should logically look at, you know, um, the way to manage certain risks. Then we've got the dissertation. This is, for many people, the biggest headache because they have never experienced it. For me, it's the fun part because you are doing what you want to do. Make sure that when you think of a topic or when you do something as a dissertation, think of something that you really feel close to, that you want to do, that you enjoy it. You've got 3 months there, or it's the whole year working on it. Okay, so make sure that it's something that you enjoy, not something that you heard, or maybe some curiosity or something that you think there's a gap, and then we will help you develop it. But first, look at the things that you enjoy. For example, if you enjoy ballet, then do it about ballet. What's wrong? If you enjoy cooking, risk management there can be risk management in cooking. You know, so if you enjoy sports, talk about sports. So look how vast risk management is. It's very, very vast. If you see the different dissertations that we had, I mean, in the beginning we used to have what is, for example, the impact of putting in life insurance. These are the, or what is the impact of a certain regulation, prevention of money laundering, for example. You can develop it further. Today, this last year or the year before, we had one who was talking about who did it on sports events. Another time, there was another person who did it on this year on obesity. Okay, the risk of being obese. Another one did it on what else?
Construction. We've had
Construction.
so many. I mean, every single possible area.
I cannot remember all of them, but they enjoy it. They're enjoying it, doing it. Another one did it on ethics. Another one on, I don't know.
We had one, for example, on the impact of climate change on the tourism sector in Malta.
Exactly. You can decide on whatever you want to do. On the fear of flights. It's psychology of risk, the social impact of COVID. Whatever you think is important for you. Okay. You can do it on something medical also.
All I will add to this is, with the dissertation, okay, have some sort of obviously think about ideas and feel free to come up with them. But that's why we have the research methods, the applied research techniques module in the first semester. It's intended to help you out to develop your ideas further. So it's not a traditional lecture in the sense of, I stand there and I tell you things or anything like that. It is more, we combine obviously some ideas about how you structure a dissertation and all that stuff with also one-to-one meetings.
Exactly.
Where we help you develop your ideas. And at the end, your sort of output for that would be an actual proposal where you're almost like forced to think about your dissertation. We help you develop the idea into something that's workable and something that will give you a good dissertation.
And
because we want high quality dissertations.
Exactly. And we will be sitting down with you, giving you ideas. So it's not just, you can meet up with me and Dr. Spiteri whenever you want. We can phone. I usually tend to phone in the beginning just to get a grasp of what you really like, even if you did your proposal on I don't know, water management. And then you come to me and we say, look, if we do it in this way, we'll finish up, hitting a wall and you will get nothing out of it. So we develop it on something, that can really give you, a very good dissertation that is publishable. Most of the dissertation we publish. So they are, even if you get a C, for example, once you publish, it's like you got an A, because you can say to the person who are recruiting you, okay, say, I've got my dissertation published in this journal, and this journal is a top journal, and that means, in inverted commas, you got an A. Okay, you can forget your transcript and say you've got this. That shows the quality. And if you see, from all the faculty, from all the department in the faculty, I think we've got the most students dissertation published, if I'm not mistaken, or in
Oh,
chapters.
easily.
Yes,
Easily.
and actually, even since we opened the MA by research, we have we had the largest number of MA by research, and practically all of them have published books or book chapters or else journal chapters. The last one is university and technical experiences. This is because every year we usually offer that we take the students to visits to, like last year, not last year, 2 years ago, because of COVID, we didn't go. We went to Allianz in Milan. We went to Milan actually. We went to Allianz, and then we went to Generali and another very large insurer. Okay, and NL, if I'm not mistaken. And from there, we went to a museum on insurance, which was quite exciting because you start seeing all the insurances that, all the insurance contracts in the world, okay, from practically the 1100s. So, and in Malta even featured, okay, Malta featured with one of the earliest contracts in the 1300s. And China was the first. It was a wine contract in Malta, and the Phoenicians, and then they went to the University del Sacro Cuore, where the University del Sacro Cuore also, somebody gave a talk, about the practices in insurance, a short talk of 1 hour, and then we went to the Milan Stock Exchange, and we let them go. We let them students go, shopping or whatever they wanted to do in Milan. We also, a year before, we took them to London, and we went to the London Stock Exchange and Lloyd's of London. So, and we went to some insurers and reinsurers in UK. We've also got a progression from there. I think I left out the MA. Hold on. We've also got the MA. Let me find it. Okay. So there is the MA by research. Now the MA by research is the difference is that we've got, can be part-time over 5 semesters. Okay. And 5 semesters being including summer. Okay. In which you have to do these compulsory subjects, which are practically the same subjects that we've got, few subjects that we've got in our MSc. However, we've got governance, risk management, and compliance, which is a separate subject taught by 44 lecturers, and it is dealing with all these areas, and reflective practices in risk management, which is mostly reflecting on certain, let's say, certain cases, case studies, and certain books on practices and risk management. The dissertation here is 60 CTSs, so it's a little bit, it's a mini PhD. So the MA by research, many people think that MA is lower than an MSc. There is no difference. MSc is a Master of Science because it has slightly more mathematics, or statistics slightly, because we don't have that much, and most of it can be avoided. Um, so it's nothing to fear. And here we are talking about something that is just a step before a PhD. So it's the highest level you can get before going to a PhD. Sorry, and you can also do it full time over 3 semesters, okay? But the full time is open only in October. The part time is open in October and February. So you can apply twice, okay? Now, the MSc and the MA from insurance BCom, you can go straight into the MA or the MSc. If you're coming from other BComs, okay, you might have to do another 12 VCTSs, which we will tell you about. So apart from the main subjects, we add another 12 VCTSs of subjects, okay, up to 12. So if you're coming from another department, you never took insurance as part of your major, you still can join. There were people who joined, for example, from European studies, okay? Now, what I told you also, category 2 automatically lets you go into the course. If you get a category 3 or a third class, we will have to do an interview, okay? So you're not left out also. Now, obviously, we do seminars, we do conferences. However, with COVID, many of the students did not attend. Okay, they attended some of them, but some of them they did not attend. Okay, we do the seminars even in conjunction with other universities, in conjunction with other institutes. These are our foreign professors. We've got professors from practically all over the world, UK, Italy. We've got connections with Italian universities, French universities, Luxembourg universities, Cyprus, Greece, Latvia, Estonia, Lithuania, Serbia, Kosovo, Croatia, Portugal, Romania. I mean, I get students, not students only, I mean, doing studies, all right, the PhD studies in Malta also, from these universities. Then we've got internships and Erasmus. Again, another thing that we have that others are not offering is that you can go to an Erasmus in any of the semesters, even on a PhD, on the master's program. So if you decide you want to go for the first semester, you want to go to, or the first and second semester, you want to go to do it in Università del Sacro Cuore in Milan, you just apply for the Erasmus. If you get the Erasmus program, you can go over there and you get the equivalence of what you have done in Malta. Okay. The placements, if you want placements, you can get placements. You will get CTSs for doing it like you had in the first and second and third year. There are many placements, so all you need to do is, try and get them. And here is what I told you about. We've got an agreement with Firma, Remap, and we've got also an agreement with the Chartered Insurance Institute and Public Risk Management Organization. We are with the Chartered Institute of Insurance. They will give you exemptions from practically all the subjects, except they want you to do specific, they will want you to do 5 subjects, which you would have already done. One of them is, for example, law in insurance, which is basically British law, but it's very simple. It's principles of regulation, and it is assignment based. Another one is economics, which is basic, the economics O level. It's to that level, but it's a must that you have to do it. Then there is underwriting and claims, which you would have done, okay? Reinsurance, which you would have done, And there are, risk management, for example, that you would have done in more detail than this. So the thing is, they are all assignment based. So if you want to get the fellowship, okay, in the Chartered Institute of Insurance, you would have to, exactly when you finish your BCom, you apply to the Chartered Institute of Insurance, and then you do the exams when you want to do them, which are assignment based. So you can do the MSc, do this concurrently, and you are given the um, uh, Federation of Europe, FCII, immediately. Okay. Um, any questions? Even if you are shy to say the questions now, I mean, you can send the questions to me directly or um, uh, to Dr. Spiteri, and I can get back to you. And even I think you can send, the video. I think you're going to send it, the recording. Um, it's up to you. So you can send it by email. You can tell me to get back to you. I mean, I phone you or another video call, whatever you want. I mean, Dr. Spiteri and myself are available. Our emails are simon.green@um.edu.mt, and of Dr. Spiteri, it's jonathan.v.spiteri@um.edu.mt. And that's the end of my advertisement.
If I may ask,
Yes,
with respect to the Master of Science program,
yes,
there is also the same admission.
yes, the same admission for both. So a student can choose either to go into more detail on research, okay, or else into more detail on less detail on the research and do an MSc. There is no difference. I mean, the difference between the two is one is more academic. So
Okay.
if you are interested in continue academic, but at the same time it gives you practice because you are at the workplace. So you can work and take it part time, or you can take it full time.
Mhm.
But full time would mean that you wouldn't be able to go to
Yes.
work, but or you will be able to lessen the amount of work that you do because then you have to concentrate a lot on your dissertation. This is a mini PhD, so as a value academically, it is very, very high. On the other hand, the MSc is less academic, more practical and more theory. Okay, but still, it's a strong MSc. So the two are, I mean, you can decide what you want to do. If you want it more, you're stronger on dissertations and academia, or else you like being fed more information.
Okay.
So to tell you the truth, I don't know what the students really like because the thing is, we had last year we had I think 20 students on the MA and 20 students on the MSc, and we had also visiting students apart from that. So the thing is, we have exactly 2 years after each other the same amount on both courses. The only thing is, the MA, there tend to be people who, there's a mix of experiences. There are people who have been in the industry, there are lecturers who are lecturing in the courses who have decided to come back. They have an MSc, but they came back to do the MA by research. And some of them are intending to continue doing their PhD. But I mean, they are working in the industry, they are my age and older, and they still came to do the MA. But that is even better because you have a mix. Even in the MSc, we had people, if I'm not mistaken, let's say, that came back to study after a long time. So you get both things. The only thing is that the MSc is full time.
Mhm.
So um, uh, people who have more experience tend to go for the MA because they want to continue with their work. So I mean, this gives them the advantage. And also in the MA we have even in the MSc, in the MA, but we have a variety of people from different areas, from different faculties. in the MSc we have also, but we have less of that. I mean, we had people coming from banking and finance, we had people coming from European science, and once in the MA, not once, twice, I had persons coming from psychology. So, and another one from criminology. So there was, and law also. So there is a variety also of the people who join. And this year already in the MA, there are foreigners. I mean, they already applied. That's why, and even in the MSc, there are people who already applied. I know there are about 6 persons who already applied. In the MA, there are 3. 2 of them are foreigners, and one of them is a person who is over 60. So you can imagine she's 60, 61, something like that. So you can imagine the different.
Okay. So basically, for both programs, you can actually come from any course.
Any background, yes, and any course. The thing is, hi, Dr. Said. Just 2 minutes, okay. The thing is, we don't want to attract just persons from with the same frame of mind. We want to attract people with a different mentality. That makes it more healthy, you know, that you come up with new ideas, especially in the MA, because the MA you need to look at, you know, areas maybe that we're not seeing. Okay, because if you're coming with, if for example, an accountant is auditing another accountant, they're going to look at the same things because they came from the same courses, they came from the same background, they learned the same subjects. But if you get, for example, a pharmacist, okay, you give him the tools of auditing. I did it on purpose because Dr. Zaid is primarily a pharmacist, and my wife is a pharmacist also. So if you get a pharmacist, you give them the tools on auditing and you tell them to audit certain companies, they will see things that, let's say, maybe I won't see. Okay, so that is why even in our department, I mean, if you see the lecturers, we're all diversified. I mean, we're all different. I'm coming from banking and finance. I'm coming from auditing. Dr. Spiteri is coming from behavioral economics. What's his name? Philip Beat is coming from um, economics, but from the portfolio management side, and Andre Farrugia is coming from insurance. He's the only one basically pure insurance. So there's a variety even there, and even in the persons who are casual lecturers. The casual lecturers are all coming from different areas. And even the insurance people are coming from different areas.
Okay.
Any more questions? No. So thank you very much. Thank you, Dr. Said, for giving us, 5 minutes of your time.
My pleasure anyway, Professor Grima. Thanks very much.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you,
Have a
Professor.
nice day. Thank you.
Thank you. Ciao, ciao.
Thank you.
So I just finished third year in marketing and public policy.
Okay, in marketing and public policy, Jeremy.
Yes.
Okay. Nathan? Nathan, could you speak to me, please? All right.
Hello.
Finished first year. All right. I'm seeing your chat. All right. Well, I would prefer if you talk, considering it's everything online and I'm only seeing a black box with your name. Emily?
Hi, I just finished third year in marketing and management.
Okay. And Maria? Maria, hello. If you're with us, make a noise. She's probably not with us. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to introduce to you very briefly what our MSc is all about. Our MSc is not just a degree. It is a unique experience where students learn to make the difference in their jobs. It's not just about an academic study, a course of study, but it's also very much a hands-on approach. And because it is hands-on, we have recruited a team of people who come from industry with a diversity of backgrounds. These are the academics whom you would be meeting during your course of studies. You could see from the management perspective, from the management side of things, you have practitioners and professors who have ample experience in the relevant areas. Needless saying, for instance, Professor Frank Bedzina comes from the operations side of things, and he's been teaching operations over the past 20 years. Dr. Vincent Marmara, who is, I guess, is one of the most famous statisticians we've got on our island. He won't be breaking your back on statistics, I can tell you that, but I'm pretty sure he would be extremely useful and extremely helpful in your statistics, in your dissertations. I'll come to that later on. Dr. Joe Azzopardi from Human Resources, Dr. Nathaniel Massa, Strategy and Entrepreneurship, Dr. Stephanie Fabry in Human Resources Management, Professor Vincent Kassar in Cognitive Biases and Organizational Psychology, and Martin Zamit also in Operations Management and Service Management. From the marketing side of things, then you've got a larger team who will help you in both marketing and digital marketing. So meet Mr. Stephen Ajus in data analytics. He's also a PhD student in our university. Mr. Peter Kalea, who together with myself and Professor Tanya Samud-Bonici would be taking you in a simulation for strategic management and strategic marketing. Dr. Yurka Konieczny, who takes you on digital marketing and customer experience. Dr. Joseph Schembri, who will also take you alongside with Dr. Yurka Konieczny and myself on marketing, on research methods. Ms. Daniela Castillo and Ms. Elaine Gregg, who would be taking you in very specific areas of digital marketing alongside Dr. Franco Curmi. Ms. Cora Muscat, who would be taking you on behavioral economics. Dr. Miriam Pocock, who teaches retail management and retail sciences. And of course, Professor Tanya Samud-Bonici, who teaches marketing strategy. All these, my friends, are my team. Our marketing team who has ample experience, not only as academics, but also as practitioners. You might be asking yourself, is that all? Well, not really. We've got so many other people who are employed with us on a casual, on a part-time basis, who would be helping you in coming up with your dissertation. I will make a huge emphasis on the dissertation later on, because your dissertation actually covers more than 1/3 of your credits. This, my friends, is just an unupdated list of potential supervisors for your dissertation in marketing. You could see, for instance, Dr. Tanya Camilleri, who handles dissertations related to the handling or the management of marketing themes. Dr. Colin Borge, who comes from the public policy perspective and governance. Dr. Christian Bonici, for instance, Professor Sandra Buttigieg, Dr. Anne Lennon, who comes from the arts marketing perspective, Dr. Maria Chiara Restuccia, who is a resident academic at Sussex University. She handles dissertations that are related to arts marketing as well. Miss Antonietta Rosiello, who handles dissertations and projects related to startup organizations and use of customer insight, pretty much just as much as I do. Dr. Alexandra Telma, who handles entrepreneurship. Dr. Joe Vella or Joseph Vella, who handles consumer behavior projects. Dr. Mario Kassar, communications and international marketing. Well, the list is practically endless, and it's growing. We are recruiting new prospective supervisors who will take you to who can help you with different areas of marketing and digital marketing. You might probably be asking yourself then, what is the degree all about? Well, The degree in both digital marketing and strategic and marketing have two separate strands of teaching, two separate strands of learning. The first strand, which is common to all MSc programs, is the management stream. 30 credits divided by 6 equally weighted study units. Cognitive heuristics and judgment and managerial decision making, which is a study unit that is designed and delivered by Professor Vincent Cassar. Strategic management and enterprising, that is delivered by Dr. Nathaniel Massa. People, performance and metrics, that is delivered by Dr. Stephanie Fabry. Service design and operations strategy, that is delivered by Dr. Martin Zamit. Strategic human resources management, that is designed and delivered by Dr. Joseph Azzopardi. And finally, management science and decision analysis, that is designed and delivered by Professor Frank Bezzina. From the marketing side, again, 30 ECTSs, 30 credits, including advanced research techniques that Jirka Konieczny, Dr. Joe Cambry and myself deliver, digital marketing channels, marketing strategy, digital analytics for marketing management, and behavioral science for business. There's also an elective subject that is delivered during the first semester, and something where you as students have to choose from two. The first one would be internationalization, that is delivered by Dr. Joe Cambry, and the second one is customer experience design for marketing and management, that is delivered by Dr. Jirka Konieczny. As far as digital marketing is concerned, again, almost the same study units, except for digital marketing channels and online advertising, and advanced digital marketing strategy. Digital marketing channels is a study unit that requires you to undertake a simulation, a number of decisions as a team, where you would have to render an organization transform itself from traditional marketing to digital marketing. The other simulation that is conducted, that is delivered during the second semester, is marketing strategy, planning and simulation, which relies on the principles of blue ocean strategy. That is a theory developed in the early 2005 by two Harvard professors, Kim Chan and Muriel Morboyne. Now, the whole idea of simulation is to ensure that our students do not only know marketing theory, but can also apply marketing theory in a real-life business. Indeed, that simulation relates to a real-life case study spanning over 20 years of data and related to one specific market. Of course, I won't be unveiling what the market is, because that would give you ample time to prepare yourself, and I don't want you to do that just as yet. Not before you have decided for which program you're going to enroll yourselves. Now, learning in 2021 and 2020 has proved itself extremely challenging, because we had to offer a learning experience entirely online, especially for this academic year, which is not something that made us extremely happy. Why? Because interaction and engagement with our students lacks much to be desired. We tried our best. We know that our students could deliver, could engage with their learning journey, but perhaps there is something more. But something that we noted is that our students expect this. They will never have it. Sorry, my friends, if you're expecting the master's journey to be spoon feeding, that is not going to happen. We expect at the master's level students to do their own reading, to do their own search for literature that is helpful, to do their own sourcing of literature and methods of analysis that will help them throughout their entire journey. We can only introduce specific areas. We can only introduce some hands-on experiences, but other than that, it's the student's prerogative, it's the student's job to actually find out what works best for them. This is a master's level journey. It is not your undergraduate journey. Remember that by master of science, we mean somebody who is capable of mastering their own ways of learning. It is not an MSc in learning, but it is an MSc on its own. Remember that this is a full-time study. So 1 credit, 1 ECTS means approximately 25 hours of study and around 7 hours of classroom experience or classroom exposure. So if every study unit is 5 credits, then we expect you to undertake as much as 125 hours of study on average. That means 28 hours in class, a 3 hours exam if applicable, and then around 90 hours on your own. Why am I saying this? Because some students believe that, okay, classes happen on Tuesdays and Thursdays, so I'm at work on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. And I know for sure that 8 hours of demanding work will mean absolutely no time to study after those 8 hours. So you relegate your hours of study to Tuesdays and Thursdays, and then the weekend you need to rest. In total, you would be devoting only 12 to 16 hours of study every week. And my friends, I have to be honest with you, that is insufficient. If you plan to devote just 16 hours a week, it will simply mean that you will fail your exams, you will be unable to compile satisfactory assessments, and I'm afraid you would be wasting your time. So if you're not prepared to devote at least 40 hours a week, then this master's degree is not for you. I'm being plain honest for you because I believe being honest at the very start means we can have a long-term friendship. And I don't want enemies in this world. It means also that you have to do your reading prior to your lecture, not afterwards. Your lecture is an opportunity for you to discuss, not just hear. And I make a distinction between hearing and listening. Listening means you understand what is going on. But sadly, over the past years, we noted that about 40% of our students just switch on their online login, their Zoom, and they're practically absent. Lara, are you there?
Hi, yes.
Good. All right. Sorry to ask, but earlier we had a participant who wasn't there. Correct? Yeah, Yasmin. That's what happens on online. That's what happens online. We want you to engage and contribute in discussions. This is a master's degree. We want you to think. We want you to make the difference in our lectures. We love discussing. We love arguing. That's why we're academics. And we want our students to come out into the world of work, capable of asking questions and making decisions, but being critical. That is extremely important. What is also important at your master's degree is being something like this. I don't know who actually cites British teams. I do, sorry. But just for being politically correct, well, here's something for you. Not that it's performing well these days, but all right, I'd rather not comment anymore. But at least the Italians did make a good show yesterday. Correct, Yasmin?
Yes, they did.
They did. Well, let's hope the Brits do the same tonight. But anyway, why am I posting these pictures? Because these are successful teams. And as teams, you can perform. So don't study on your own. Don't be isolated. Your master's degree could be a very isolating experience. We don't want that. We want you to study in teams, exchange notes, exchange literature, exchange ideas. So from the very first day, try to find colleagues with whom you can work, with whom you can collaborate. Change notes. Remember that the essence of football for a very successful team is when the ball is passed around from one player to another, not by running the entire pitch. It becomes extremely tiresome and very often unsuccessful. There are very few Pelés in this world, or Diego Armando Maradonas, or whoever the case might be. Those were stars that have never been equaled. I hate Maradona, by the way, because of his hand of God. But anyway, that's a different matter. But those are unique. You don't have to be unique. You just have to be a team to perform and excel, which is why the simulations actually ask you to work in teams of 3 or 6. We have made a huge effort to come up with a virtual learning environment that can actually help you with everything that you need. But we understand it's not enough. Why? Because you will very sadly need these. And believe me, you use these not to kill this, but rather to find literature like this. These are academic contributions. These are the contributions you should see in academic literature. We hate Wikipedia, and we hate it with some vengeance. We hate Statistica. We hate the other blogs. Why? Because they have not been validated. These examples that I've put on my screen here are simply peer-reviewed contributions. And they have to be peer-reviewed because they are validated. The Harvard Business Review, easy to read. You can actually take the journal to your bedtime reading, but it's extremely insightful. Why? Because picture this, one article in the Harvard Business Review actually takes more than 4 years to get published. It goes through a series of channels, it goes through a series of reviews, just to make sure that the contribution is outstanding, is something that can be understood and applied. The same thing for the Journal of Marketing, the same thing for the Academy, for the Journal of the Academy of Marketing Science. These are all top academic journals, top marketing journals, which is something that we will always encourage our students to read. You don't have to read every journal. You don't have to read every month's edition. No, sir. All you have to do is just find those relevant articles specifically from these sources. Nothing more, nothing less. I made a huge emphasis on your dissertation because it carries 39% of the entire MSc. 39%, my friends. You know what that means? Around 900 hours of work. Now, thanks to some changes we did last year, the project has to be completed by January 2023. It used to be September, but we realized that people were not putting as much effort as it deserved. So we changed the entire program of studies, and we helped our students by giving them additional time to submit their work in January. Not next year, but the year after. It is a project that it is entirely owned by the student, but it doesn't mean that you can do whatever the hell you like. As a project, first of all, you have to choose a research team that supervisors are experts in. We constantly ask our supervisors to provide us with a number of titles from which students can choose. If students are unable to choose from those titles, then they will have to enter a negotiated procedure with prospective supervisors. Why? Because supervisors are limited people. They're limited not in their ways of supervising, but limited in their areas of interest. It's pointless coming to me, for example, with a title that is related to I don't know, retail management in the gaming sector. Completely, I'm a complete idiot in that area. I'm sorry to admit, but that's the reality. But I can help you with other areas of consumer behavior. I can help you with other areas of service quality. I can help you with other areas of customer insight. That's why we ask our supervisors to come up with their own themes, to come up with their own titles. And it also helps students actually identify immediate research questions, because that's the whole pinnacle, that is the core of a project, of a dissertation, the research question. Without a research question, you don't have a dissertation. And without a dissertation, you don't have a master's degree. I hope you accept my apologies, because the last bullet actually says August 2021. Well, that should read December 2022. That is when supervisors will simply not accept any work for review during the last month prior to submission. So students are encouraged to start with their work immediately after the last exam, the last assessment. You can start before, but that's entirely up to you. Supervision is limited. At most, supervisors are required to give you just 16 hours of assistance, and that includes time logged on students' accounts, time logged as meetings, time logged for review of documentation, so on and so forth. But remember, no logbook, no marking. So you will have to submit your logbook alongside your dissertation, not in the same document, as a separate document. I hope this comes across as clear. For those of you who haven't joined this lecture or haven't joined us in this session, then you will find these requirements also set out on your VLE. We also provide you with additional help, and that comes in the form of research software. This year, SPSS was provided by our university for free. If you had to look into SPSS own website, you will find that SPSS will cost you about 300 to 400 euro. I don't think that is something you can afford. Well, it's very much of an assumption from my side, but finding it for free from our IT services department, well, that is something. The same thing holds for QSR and Vivo. And Vivo is the software that we encourage students to use in qualitative analysis. SPSS, I believe, has already been introduced to you during your third year of studies by Dr. Vincent Marmara, Miss Daniela Castillo, and Dirka Konieczny, for those of you who have completed their third year of studies. Of course, you can find the software available from the IT services website. But we want you to take the extra mile. We want you to be aware that we've got something more in store for you that can help you with your studies. Firstly, MarketLine. This is a database that provides you with cutting-edge information on specific industries, markets, and countries. It's available for you for free from our library. Our library has, over the past years, invested huge amounts of money in making these systems available to you students. And believe me, I am not joking when I say that this database, for instance, is not available in foreign universities, in some foreign universities, who also compete with University of Malta with coming up with very competitive master's programs for which students are required to pay anywhere between 12 and 18,000 euro. We're providing this to our students for free. Second is the Marketing Skills Handbook. Again, another database where any marketing instrument, so to say, or marketing questionnaire has been registered and put available for students in this database. It's an American database that is curated by an American professor, Gordon Brunner, whom I've met some time ago. And believe me, If I had access to this database during my days of my master's degree, believe me, I would have cut down my work by at least 30%. And it's available for you for free. Usually, we organize a study visit. This is the group that we organized and took to Wrocław in Poland, where we visited not only organizations in Poland, in Wrocław, but also had cutting-edge seminars on intercultural communication at Wrocław University of Economics. These people wrote home about their first experience, which is something they will never forget. A group of 23 students, all of whom came from our MSc group. And of course, in store, we've got world-renowned academics who are happy to help us with their own thoughts. In this slide, you could see, I forgot the names really. You could see Denise Rousseau on the right, who is one of the most cited authors in organizational psychology. She actually writes about the organizational contract, the psychological contract between organizations and their employees. Same here, Frank Trummer, who teaches leadership, and Emily Hollebeek, who teaches and writes about digital marketing. We invited Linda Hollebeek some 2 years ago, who gave us a seminar on the latest developments in digital marketing, and it was something. And before I end, just one more thing. I wanted to ask you to do something during this summer, instead of just relaxing and enjoying the beach. Not that that is something you don't deserve, mind you. But I would ask you to do something for yourself. Log in the university account, log into your library account, and review some past MSc dissertations to see what it takes, what we really want from an MSc student. My friends, that is all I had to tell you during this very short presentation. And now I welcome any questions you might have. I hope I'm not talking to 4 black screens and nothing else. Thank you. That's it. I mean, someone just logged out, not even saying a bye. Yasmin, you can see what frustrates us.
Yes.
Jeremy, Emily, Lara, any questions or comments you might have, please?
I have nothing at the moment, but I surely will look into the course because it's really interesting, but I still need to do my own personal research. So,
of course, I totally understand that, Lara.
But thank you very much. It was very, very, very informative.
If you're anything like my wife when it comes to choosing shoes, I can totally understand.
And you get me. Thank you.
Jeremy, Emily?
The same, basically. I'm still deciding. I'm not sure about whether to choose digital or sort of traditional marketing. I'm still undecided on that. But,
oh, I see Dr. Franco Kurmi, who has just joined us.
So basically, I'm still deciding, and I'll do some research over the summer.
Okay. Hello, Franco. Good to see you here. That is not his usual self. Usually, Franco, when he logs in, is talking to me. Hello, Franco.
Hello, hi.
Right,
apologies for the delay, but we had some electricity issues. So
I'm really sorry about
that. Sorry about that.
I did an introduction, Franco. Perhaps you might elaborate on what I've said. You definitely have a clearer idea about the MSc in Strategic Management and Digital Marketing. So please just go ahead.
Let me just switch on the video if I manage.
Yasmin,
Again,
you might want
apologies.
to offer
In fact, I did
Dr. Kurmi, please.
provided the share screen capability.
Okay.
Okay, hello everyone. So yes, apologies again for not coming in earlier. It's been a bit of a panic trying to connect with no electricity. So number one, it's a pretty popular program. Number two, I would like to emphasize it's not an easy program. It's quite a challenging one, which needs a good 40 hours of work. Most of the lectures are on 2-3 days a week, but it still needs it's full time. No? So you need to make sure those who apply needs to make sure that it has 40 hours. You have 40 hours to dedicate for the program. Besides that, it's 3 semesters long. So the first semester and the first 2 semesters have pretty much taught modules, which are split between strategic management and marketing or digital marketing. I'm not sure if Dr. Said you have already sort of gone through this part, so perhaps I'm repeating myself. And the third is on the dissertation.
Franco,
Perhaps
did the usual introduction.
Okay, perfect.
Last year, so
otherwise, perhaps if there are any questions that might be more fitting, because I would guess Dr. Said would have pretty much covered all the areas. I was I wouldn't say I was comfortable. I couldn't connect, but I was sort of I had the peace of mind that Dr. Said's around, so it wasn't in a panic state as it should have been probably otherwise. Are there perhaps any questions about perhaps one of the programs? In fact, the internet is still freezing. You are hearing me fine? Yes.
Yes, Franco. You're being extremely clear and very well received. But I guess at one point I was talking to 4 black boxes and nothing else really. I'm really sorry about this.
Okay. I'm wondering if there are perhaps any questions or anything else which you would like to cover. Something I would add, I mean, besides being challenging, it tends to be quite diverse, and students learn from each other as well. So sometimes we have entrepreneurs. There's a number of international students as well, even this year who applied. But again, the important thing is that if you apply for the masters, make sure that sort of you have the time to dedicate. No, you don't have like a full-time job which you need to catch up, 20 children, and then at the same time trying to do a masters. You need to make sure that you have enough time to do a good job.
I hope they're not frozen stiff. Really.
Sometimes my video is getting stuck, so I think probably there were some power cuts, and Melita still sort of getting up in service.
Yes, in fact, there were some who were trying to get in, but due to internet connections,
so
okay, unfortunately.
One other thing which I would suggest is apply. So if you're planning to get into the masters, it would be good to apply early, because the process does take some time to process all the applications. Very often they're processed in batches, not sort of each one is processed individually. So it does take some time. So the earlier, in some cases, it's pretty much straightforward. In other cases, depending on sort of which criteria you apply with or you get into the program, in some cases there might be a need for an interview, for example, or probably not in your case, but there will be cases where there's a need of translating, for example, transcripts and so on, if they're from other universities. So the earlier, the better. Otherwise, that's pretty much it from my end. There's a lot of information online. If anyone has any sort of specific questions, we're more than happy if you drop us an email. I'm more than happy to answer, or do a meeting on whether sort of this would be the right fit for the program, or whether you would fit in the criteria. For example, have specific cases of study units or marks and so on.
If I may ask, to be admitted into the master's program for marketing, would there be any, for example, would have taken as majors other subjects and not marketing, and wish to actually try and get into marketing master? Will it be a problem, or
it depends on which areas. So by the regulations, the admission requirements, there's, if you have a look at the website, for the programs, there are 4 A12 criteria, and there will be students who will apply sort of on different criteria. Some sort of will have graduated from BCom, and all they need is sort of the 65%. There are others who apply, but they might not have sort of studied marketing or management. In that case, there should be some relationship and experiences. I'm trying to find which category it is. That would be category E. That is, they should still have a first degree to apply with a minimum second-class honor, or category 2, in an area that is deemed appropriate by the board, which must be related to the 2 topics. And in that case also, that's why there might be different criteria. You would be asked to submit a portfolio covering at least the last 12 months of relevant related experience. By portfolio, what we understand, you probably submit a CV, but the difference with a portfolio is that there will be case studies related to what you've done. I mean, normally in a CV you would have, I worked at this company, that's pretty much it. In a portfolio, we would expect that there will be, for example, a case study of what you did. I did customer service, and there was these conditions, and this was the challenge, that sort of thing. So that would be a different criteria for those who do not fit in A to D. I know. Do you want to share the screen, perhaps, or that's pretty much self-explaining, I guess?
No, you explained it very.
Otherwise, I can share the screen. Okay.
Thank you.
What else? Yeah, but perhaps also I'm seeing the learning outcomes on the program. Something that we need to clarify as well for the programs, and this is useful so that you come with sort of the right frame of mind. The objective of the programs is not to learn sort of only the practical skills of, for example, how to do a Facebook ad, which buttons do I need to press, and this sort of thing. To learn that, probably a YouTube video is enough, or a simple diploma course will be enough. What the objective of the programs are is to take, in most cases, the program plus some experience leadership positions. Now, increasingly, organizations need leadership positions, for example, in digital marketing or marketing. In the case of digital marketing, knowing a broad range of topics from basic SEO, you have strategic management skills, content marketing, pricing, and the other core areas of marketing. but at the same time, they need teams, no, to run sort of their operations, their marketing operations, and so on. So the objective of combining strategic management and marketing or digital marketing is specifically for this, that in a couple of years, your main focus is to manage teams rather than click the buttons to physically do the ads, for example, and so on. It's not that that role is not important, and some will love doing that, and they will do it. That's great, but it gives you quite a challenge also from a strategic management perspective, and also from how systems operate, for example, not just sort of from a practical approach, but also from some theoretical approach as well. So you do both. I don't know if there are any other questions. We're more than happy to answer them.
I'm sorry about this, Franco.
No worries. And probably, I believe it is being recorded now, so others will see this sort of that's a different time frame now or later on when they come to apply, for example. You're muted, Dr. Said.
Sorry, thank you, Dr. Kumi. I think we can.
Yes, we can close off the meeting, I think.
Close off. Thank you, Dr. Kurmi.
Excellent, and sorry for not connecting earlier.
Don't worry. And thanks, everyone, and good luck with your choice.
Thank you, Dr. Said and Dr. Kurmi, for joining us, and apologies for having such a small audience for this meeting. However, we don't really have that much opportunity to get to know more of the students. So probably it was that part, but obviously we have tried our best to reach as much as possible.
And if I can add, well done sort of to the organizers as well, because I mean, taking the initiative sort of to organize this,
very
it's not the recording will be definitely useful for the students at different times as well. No?
Yes.
Thank you, Yasmin, for organizing. Well, I would be grateful if you can give us an indication, say end of next week, how many students or how many people would have downloaded or seen the recording.
Okay.
Not who, but rather the number of students.
The number of students, yes, of course.
Okay.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Good day.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Bye-bye.